Oh, okay. Leon's in a
Welcome to the TDC
right
Today
now.
Show
He said he
USA.
could probably join about
Oh, sorry. My name is Sue Roscoff. We are here live in on location. I'm actually in a tent right now. So you are here with us as we get to do all sorts of fun things out and about, and super excited for what is happening actually on location here today. But before we get anything with that, I really want to bring our guests in so we can hear more from them today, because Marianne is a longtime friend, and I love hearing updates of what's all happening with her. And we have a new friend joining us today. Mary is going to be hopping in here as well. Emily, do you want to start out though? If you would be so kind as to do the introductions here. I want to bring Marianne in first.
Oh, you're wrong.
You're good.
Wrong person. But
You're good.
Marianne has been with us before. She's an author, app developer, sign language interpreter, and so on. So Marianne, do you want to give us any updates on your travels and book project?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Emily and Kurt and Sue, for always having this weekly show, and Happy Neighborhood Projects and support by Lawrence Wingate Studios and Transform You Media out of Canada. Great way to share our stories, and want to dive deep into my first book. It's called Underwater Acts of Kindness. And I had the opportunity to live on a 45-foot sailboat in Honolulu. And I met Mr. Scott, and I started signing for him again. So I reinvented myself and reinvented my career and became an author of the Acts of Kindness series and Apple game developer. And so what I was noticing was all this garbage was swirling around the Alawai and the boat harbor, and wanted to know where it was all coming. And we did some research, and through the Unity Church of Hawaii, I met Suzanne Sims, my co-writer, and I heard Lucy Lynch sing with this angelic voice, and Nick's guitar sounds like whales and dolphins. And through meditation, I asked what my next purpose was, and you're going to write a series of books with puppets. And I said, what? And well, here I am today. I'm the author of the Acts of Kindness series, being federally trademarked by Dr. Liddy out of Orlando, who I met through Happy Neighborhood Projects as being a co-host and a sign language interpreter for the H&P ability. So through the pandemic, I used those funds to get that trademark and create additional books and coloring books and app games. I have 11 app games. So the story starts out with Underwater Acts of Kindness is Noah is a whale that comes down on a Hawaiian vacation, and they have a glow in the dark party. And there's a black speedboat that goes by named Bad Karma and actually injures Noah. And he loses some of his hearing and his sonar. And he wants to know what kind of world he's going to live in. And he is meets a hermit crab named Dr. Fingers, the finger spelling hermit crab, and Angelina Joyful, an angel fish interpreter. And he goes to the rehab clinic and gets rehabilitated. So, and he finds out he's going to be a new father. And what kind of father is he going to be? And how is he going to support his family? And he sees all these sick fish. That is because of all the garbage that's floating around the world. At one gyra, there's several gyras. It happens to be the Great Pacific Garbage Patch between Hawaii and California. And in 1999, Captain Moore was sailing with the Transpac sailboat race. It's a biannual race, and they just ended the race in Honolulu a couple of weeks ago. And I had the honor to talk with Captain Moore, and hopefully we can bring him on the show as well. And the story goes is that Noah is recruited by a sea turtle called the General of the New Earth Army to tackle the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And so it's an amazing story with a soundtrack by Lucy, and Nick's guitar sounds like whales and dolphins. I got the opportunity during the pandemic to go into Pierre Grill's studio in Manalawa Valley and to record the book on Audible. So It's just, it was the start of it. It was actually written for the Animal Planet TV show Tank Guys, where they build aquariums, Wade King. So there was a red octopus named King Octo the Eighth, who teaches the signs of peace, love, happiness, and thanks. We have Shaka, the sign language shark, who's very sharp at reading the sign language. We have Flip and Flap, our service elephant dolphins, and other characters that are in there. So it's a lot of fun. And each chapter will have an online course. So you get introduced to the characters, you learn the fingerspelling alphabet. It will be on the new website. It's actsofkindnessseries.com. Again, it's actsofkindnessseries.com. And you can count the life jackets in the water in sign language. You fingerspell the words with the crabs and the clam shells with Miss Kaneohe from Kaneohe, which happens to be a military base up there with the Marines. So we talk about hearing loss because there is actually 500 million people worldwide with a hearing loss now. Millions of moms and dads are coming home from being of service who can't hear their own children or grandchildren. So these are a great story for everybody to learn, and FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, learning finger spelling, and it's just it's a great journey. And we're rolling over to Rabbit Acts of Kindness No Bully. That's available now for Anti-Bullying Month in October. We have Pono, the Hawaiian polo pony, and it's polo season in Hawaii. And that's a short book, introduces the horses with the different floral colored leis for representing each island. And again, there's games with that too, counting the rainbows, counting the mallets, counting the horses. So it's just been great fun to have, that vision and mission to do that and bring this to the world. And we're working on the climate change book called Cool Acts of Kindness. My co-writer Suzanne Sims and I are both relocated to Mexico from Waikiki. And I had the journey to sail with my neighbor who lived in Hawaii. And he actually sailed California to Alaska to Canada. I joined him in San Diego a year and a half ago, and stayed in Cabo and worked on a expense report to get grants, and we're applying for the Awesome Foundation grant in Honolulu for $1,000 to write the book, and which opened up more doors, especially through Happy Neighborhood. I met Lawrence Wingate. He can bring these books into animation movies, to the military families. I see this, just as amazing project, and we're going to be speaking with Morgan's Wonderland too, which would be a great home to bring these books and theater and movies, because they have an ability theme park there, and I believe they're making a water park too. So back to water, we're working on the climate change book, Water Flow, with featuring Water Flow for the Love of Water, and Leanne McLaughlin, who's been a guest speaker. He's being recognized by Bill Gates Foundation for the 5th year in a row for bringing filters to 35 countries. So back to the garbage patch, we want to highlight here, I was introduced to an actor who was on Home Alone too. She passed away, but before she did, she made a painting of a mural of my book cover at the New York City Theater in New York, and it's just it's a beautiful story here. And I'd like to ask Captain Mary. Captain Mary read 2 of my books when I met her in Ensenada when we had our little layover there, and on the docks. And I'd like to hear what she thought about the books and her experience of sailing through these ocean waters. What have you seen? I know there's a Boynton Slat that's created a gyro or a Jenny machine. He does a Jenny, and kind of like circulates around and picks up all the other size of the garbage. So I know they are shrinking. I know he's in Guadalajara. It's unbelievable just to see this river just full of plastic. There's no water. And what kind of inventions he's creating, these bridges to pick up all those plastics. So Captain Mary, please share us where have you sailed? What have you seen? Please share the good news with us.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. This is very nice. Thank you for including me. So actually in the last year, we've had a lot of great adventures. We met Marianne in Ensenada. We took our own boat in 2021 we took it to Alaska, to Southeast Alaska, and cruised the waters of Southeast Alaska, and then went all the way down the coast to Ensenada. So we were gone for quite a while in 2021, early 2022. And I will say other than seeing the wonderful sea life, whales and dolphins and all that stuff, the thing we see most in the water that's disturbing is mylar balloons. Without a doubt, you'll be out there and you think, what is that? Is that a bird? And it's a mylar balloon. And we can be as far as 20 miles offshore and there's a mylar balloon. So I don't buy them anymore because, when they get loose, they end up, they can, who knows where they're going to go, but that's what we see the most out there. We also, in the fall of 2022, we sailed across the Atlantic. We had a good friend who wanted to move his boat from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean. And there is twice a year, there is what's called the Atlantic Rally Crossing, where groups of boats gather together and as collectively will sail across the Atlantic. So it's, kind of the safety in numbers thing. So we left the Canary Islands in November we actually met the boat in Gibraltar, sailed to the Canary Islands, and then on November 20th, left with 150 other boats and sailed across the Atlantic to St. Lucia. And that was great fun. That was really interesting. And the funny part of it is that you think, well, safety in numbers, we went 8 days without seeing another boat because it's a big ocean and everybody spreads out. But it was amazing to see how clean and how little, other than the sargassum weed that you hear about and ending up on the beaches of Florida right now. It was pretty clean. What we saw was pretty clean. But the mylar balloons, think twice before you let one go anyway, because they just go. So that was a really great experience. We had a very busy year and a half or so. So right now we're doing Alaska cruises. I'm home for a little break right now. We take families on charter, like 1 and 2 week charters in Southeast Alaska. And it's really, really beautiful and very fun, but lots of whales. We had a hard time getting into our moorage in Ketchikan a few weeks ago because there was a pod of orcas ahead of us and they weren't going very fast. So we had to pull back and wait for them to keep moving through the channel before we could get into our moorage. So that was loads of fun.
It's a different kind of traffic jam.
What's that?
It's a different kind of traffic jam.
It was really funny. And even the seaplanes were coming in were like, oh, we can't go in there. They were just it's like they were just having a good old time, 3 or 4 of them, and they spout. And let's see, I'm trying to think. I think we were in Clarence Sound. We were moving it was just my husband and I were moving the boat from Ketchikan to Juneau. And here was a pod of humpbacks bubble feeding, which is really just a delight, a gift to be able to watch the bubble feeding, because they circle around and they come up under the fish and they just it's just amazing. But we watched them for an hour. They just kept going and going. So it must have been a very fertile spot of water there, because it was just really amazing. We felt like we were the luckiest people on the planet. We were the only ones there. It's like, anybody else here? This is a great show.
That is amazing. Oh, I can only imagine. We actually, once upon a time when we were on a vacation, we got to go out on a whale watching expedition kind of a thing just for a few hours. And it was gorgeous. I was so excited to be able to actually see whales like live right in front of us. I can't even imagine what you've all gotten to see in your adventures with all the different wildlife and all.
Yeah.
Very jealous. That's gotta be just amazing.
Yeah, no, it's really special. And right now, now you get into August in Alaska and you can go to the streams and see the bears feeding. I don't know if you've ever watched the bears where they have the who's the fattest bear competitions and things. They start to eat. And last time I went looking for them, I guess it was about 3 weeks ago. It's too early. The fish aren't running yet. So if you go looking for bears when the fish aren't running, they're hungry and you might be mistaken for food. So you wait till yeah, right. You just want a lot of fish and berries and things to be intriguing them and not you. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll get to see more bears.
So I gotta ask, how did you get started with this? Because to me, it's just such a unique thing. It never is, for as much time as I spend on the water, it has never occurred to me to go all the way across the Atlantic. It blows my mind. That's spectacular. So how did you get started with this?
Well, we've been lifelong boaters. My husband grew up boating. I didn't, but when I met him, we just, boating. We had sailboats, we've had power boats, took our kids boating. And then we got to a point where we thought we need new adventures, something new to do, because we've done there are a lot of things to do around here in the Northwest. There's so many boating destinations and great water. And we thought we need to kind of crank it up a notch, do something different. So we got our captain's license. And then it's just like people were interested and wanted to tell us and ask us questions. And we just learned about more things to do and more places to go. And then met a lot of people, it's just a shift in who we knew. It was boat brokers and people that bought boats and say, oh, would you come with us and help us do this? And it's just, the world changed. It's just fascinating. Just like moving yourself from one group of people to another, and we thought we knew a lot of boaters. We belonged to a yacht club and no, we just radical shift in who we know and who we hang out with. It's really fun.
And do you see a lot of the same boaters then with where you're going? Are there a lot of familiar faces, or are you like constantly meeting new people, or a little both maybe?
Constantly meeting new people. Constant. And yes, we run into people we know here and there, but we're constantly meeting new people and just having new adventures and finding out. There's a couple that we know that actually my husband trained them when they bought a boat. He trained them in using their boat, and she's a professional photographer and he's a writer. And so they decided, we want to do something fun with the boating. So they started taking, what do they call it? I don't think it's a rally. Anyway, they just sign up and we will help you get to Alaska. And they take 6 or 8 boats. And they're a little caravan, I guess, if you will. I think they have another name for what their group of boats. And they take them up and show them around and keep them safe and introduce them to new anchorages. And they do this little circuit around Southeast Alaska. And it's just fascinating.
Awesome. So in all the places you've been, what's been your favorite?
Oh, that's really unfair to ask.
Sorry.
I don't want any places to feel bad. No, it just like feel like so fortunate to be able to have these adventures. And I can't. Southeast Alaska is lovely. But I've only been there in the summertime. I can't imagine any other time of the year.
It'd be a little different there.
Exactly. Love Mexico. Going up and down the west coast of the U.S. is hard because the ports are few and far between. So that's probably it's harder to say. I just can't even. We've had some great adventures.
Oh, that's amazing. That's great. So Marianne, I should ask you the same question because you've gotten to see a lot of different fun, unique places as well. What's been your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
Well, yeah, I did a lot of boating in Michigan and then in Florida and in Hawaii. I walked over to the yacht club and, met people and met a owner that needed a caretaker. So I got to live on a 45-foot sailboat and I met Captain Robert. So he became a dive captain and he has a 49-foot Transpac. So he would call me and say, hey, I got to go pick up some gas. You want to go? And I'm like, yeah. And, one time we went on a dive boat to do a photo shoot. So I'm the model on this dive boat with the background of Honolulu. And actually he was preparing the boat. So I got to sail with him. And when I first got there too, I met Captain Carl, who I keep in contact. He had a 50-foot boat too named Ariel. And he would, post it on Craigslist and people would come and you could, we were sailing to Maui and if you wanted to fly out of Maui or we picked you up in Maui and I became a Reiki master too. So my healing hands got to be part of being more of a crew. I'm a writer, and a writer, but not a decision maker. But it was a great journey, and that was my first experience of actually seeing whales. And he's like jumped in the water and seeing the spinner dolphins too on Kalalavi. I had sailed that, and then when I returned a couple of years later, I met a retired Navy diver who I dated for several years. So he cleaned up explosives around the island. So he took me to the big island, and my captain friends too had to do some technical work. They were techies and sailing over on the island. So came back, and then he decided that he wanted to do his sailing journey. So he sold his house, and he had a couple of boats in Punta Gorda, Florida, pontoon boat. So got to go cruising on that with the alligators. And then we, in 2019, no, 17, actually flew over. We stayed out Southwest Florida to Virginia, 91 days, 1,700 nautical miles on a 36-foot Beneteau. I actually book signed at Key West Aquarium and Marathon Aquarium. So the books and the puppets, paid for my travel. So, I never thought I'd be like a nomad, but, I just said, yes, as long as I could do that. And then flew back to Honolulu and met my friend Marilyn Rogers, a special ed teacher, and she told me about Donors Choose, and she requested my books, and she got funded in 2 weeks, 50 books for the kids. And they read the book, and then I went out with the puppets and where's Dr. Fingers and taught them the sign language alphabet, talked about, ocean cleanup, looking on the ground, find 10 pieces of plastic and put it in the garbage wherever you're at, just kind of advocating too at Disney, got to swim and snorkel over there. It was just amazing, especially with my deaf friend, Scott. We went on a dolphin cruise, and he had a little service dog, Pomeranian. So, I was doing triple work on that one. It's not only that, signing and floating and, cruising, but so, and that's a beautiful part. And I got to join Robert, and we're here in San Carlos, Mexico now. So we were going to sail the Sea of Cortez, but that's been postponed. And we went through Hurricane K over here together. The winds in Maui was like registered, like it was the worst they've ever had. And, we made it through the storm, and he's got a beautiful husky that he bought in Ensenada, Bay Azul. And they're out traveling. They put the boat on the hard.
Little tiny
put the boat up for the summer. They're traveling in a little red, I don't know, cruiser, peachy cruiser. And he's visiting all his family. We met different boaters down here. And where I'm living now is it's a nice apartment with a pool outside my door with a key. And a lot of boaters come here from Canada, Oregon. And so, again, it's a nice social group here. They have thrift stores here that people, donate, which goes to the EMT clinic, and it funds actually their salaries. And I met some nurses down here. And my neighbor is a retired attorney, and he cooks all these amazing 12-course meals, Mary. So I am learning how to cook. I'm learning how to cook to be a crew on one of your cruises.
Yeah,
and especially the one with the hot tub, the boat with the hot tub. I'm ready to go. So tell us about that journey with delivering a yacht with a hot tub. How was that, Mary?
Well, the water's rough when the water starts sloshing out of the hot tub. That's you. Yeah, this Nordhaven has a hot tub on the top deck. Oh my gosh. It's crazy, but it's really nice. If you're in a bay and you're the only boat in there, and there's no ambient light. So the stars are it's like it's just unbelievable how many stars are in the sky when you don't have all the light pollution. And clouds. We have clouds.
Yeah.
You may have heard that. We have clouds.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I can't thank you both enough for being here and joining us on the TDC Today Show. This has absolutely been delightful. And And actually stick around. We're going to be doing one more episode here with World of Ability coming up shortly. So if you guys can stay and join us for that, we would absolutely love that. So we are here every Saturday on the live here, TDC Today Show USA at 1 o'clock and at 1:30 p.m. Central Time. So we're so glad to be here. We're so thankful for the Disability Channel and Jay Stoyan and all the great work that they do. Thank you so much. We will see you next time. Bye for now.